Okay, math students, today we're going to be working on some algebra, and our topic is solving addition and subtraction inequalities. Remember, you can pause the video at any time, write down the notes, rewind any parts of the video, or watch it more than once if anything is unclear. Again, make sure that you ask your teacher if you have any other questions. Here we go. Go ahead and pause the video, and then I'll go through these examples with you. So when we have addition and subtraction inequalities, we're going to solve them just like we solve a regular equation. Okay, the difference is an equation would have an equal sign, whereas an inequality has this less than or greater than sign. In our first example, we're looking at e minus 16 is greater than 92. We're going to draw our line down our inequality mark, just like we would draw a line down an equation, and then we're going to do the inverse operation. So in this case, we're going to add 16. So when we add 16 to both sides, we have e left over on the left greater than 92 plus 16 is 108. There's our solution. Now we need to graph this solution on a number line. In order to graph on a number line, we need to have 108 on the number line, and then we'll fill in just some other numbers, maybe 107, maybe 110 down there. When we graph these on a number line, we're going to do an open circle on the 108. Because e is greater than 108, it's not equal to. Remember, if you have the greater than or equal to, if it's underlined, that's when you would have a closed circle. In this case, it's an open circle since it's just greater than. So e can be bigger than 108. So we're going to go through and fill in all the numbers that are greater than 108. So you can test some numbers as well. If you put in maybe like 110, put in 110 into the equation, you can take 110 minus 16 and see that that answer is in fact greater than 92. So that's a way of checking your solution. Okay? Moving on over to the next example. We have negative 2 is less than or equal. Whoops, let's move that whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and change the subtraction to add the opposite. So this problem is just the same as negative 2 is greater than or equal to w plus 5. We're still going to draw our line down the equals, or down the inequality, and we're going to do the inverse operation. The inverse operation of plus 5 is a minus 5, or a negative 5. So we end up with negative 2 plus negative 5, which is negative 7. Our symbol stays the same, greater than or equal to, and then over here on the right we end up with just a w. Okay, so the variable stays where it was. So on this case, the variable was over on the right-hand side, so we're going to leave the variable on the right-hand side. Be careful on your number line. In this case, our number line has to have some negatives on it. So remember, all number lines go least to greatest. So if I put a negative 7 on my number line, a number that's smaller than that would be negative 8. Maybe I'm going to put negative 6 and negative 5. All number lines go least to greatest. So in this case, we have negative 7. It's a filled-in circle because it's underlined. It has this line underneath. It's greater than, negative 7 is greater than or equal to w. So since it has the underline, that means w could also equal negative 7. Okay? We're going to test some points here. So when we test points, maybe I'll pick a number like, maybe a 5 or maybe you know, there's a 0 way out here on the number line. If I put a 0 back into this problem, 0 plus 5. Well, 0 plus 5 is 5. Is negative 2 bigger than or equal to 5? And it's not. So these numbers over here to the right are false. So this W, this arrow, has to go to the left. W is smaller. Notice the arrow points at the W. The alligator eats the negative 7. So the arrow goes to the left on this one. In our last example, we're just putting in some rational numbers. So we have a 3.26, which is a terminating decimal. We're going to do the same steps as we did before. Draw the line down that equals. Do that, or I'm sorry, down the inequality. We're going to do our inverse operations. In this case, we're going to add a negative 3.26 because our goal is to get this y all by itself. Okay, so when we subtract a 3.26 from both sides, okay, we get just a y on the left greater than, we follow that symbol, comes straight down. Over here on the right, we have to do a little borrowing. So we get a 4.66. So 4.66 needs to go on our number line. Maybe I'm going to put a 4.67, maybe a 4.65 over here. Okay, and then of course we look at this inequality. It's a greater than symbol, so we have an open circle on the 4.66. Y is bigger than 4.66, so it's all these numbers over here to the right. All the numbers on the number line that are bigger than 4.66. So fill in that number line. Okay, and like I said earlier, you can do some checking. A number that would be bigger than 4.6. Maybe you want to pick a number, you know, like 5 or maybe 10 or even 100. You can put those numbers back into the equation. If I did 3.26 plus 10, that'd be 13.26 over on the left. That is bigger than 7.92. So you can do some checking of those solutions as well. So this has been the adding and subtracting inequalities and finding those solutions. Again, you can watch this over and over if you want. Ask your teacher if you have any questions. Thanks. Have a great day.